Welcome to the internship program. I am Shubham Gupta from NextGen AI Frameworks Private Limited. I have 14 years of work experience in the fields of artificial intelligence, software development, and robotics. In this video, I will continue making house price prediction model. Let's continue. So, hyperparameter tuning using grid search CV. What is hyperparameter? What is grid search CV? Let's see. So first question is why. Before this, let's see what are hyperparameters. So hyperparameters are settings that you specify before training the model. So before training the model, you specify some things or settings. What these settings will be called hyperparameters. Unlike model parameters, which are learned from the data, hyperparameters are not learned and need to be set manually. So what are these settings? So these settings should be given manually. Now let's see the examples of hyperparameters. First one example is learning rate. So what this will do is controls how quickly the model adapts to new data. So you can change the learning rate as per your requirement. This is one of the hyperparameter. Second one is number of estimators. What it means is the number of trees in a random forest or boosting model. Now you will ask me one question. What is this random forest or boosting model? So random forest. Okay, so see this simple words. Okay, look at these simple words. It works by constructing multiple decision trees during training and outputting the mode of the classes for classification or the mean prediction. So if you don't know about these trees, decision trees, let's see the simple image on Google. Decision trees. So this is how decision tree looks like. So let's see, is a person fit? So first thing you need to check is if age is less than 30, then it will go to which if it is yes, age is less than 30, yes, then it will go to this tree or say branch, this one. If more than or equal to 30, yeah, so it will go to no, this tree. So if age is less than 30, it will go to this tree. So eats a lot of pizzas, if yes, then unfit. Eat lot of pizzas, no, fit. And if we see here more than 30, exercise in the morning, yes, so fit, and if no, unfit. So this is the simple example of a decision tree. This is how decision tree looks like. So it will create thousands of decision tree in the background, thousands of decision trees in the background. So not going too much into detail, let's see what this is. Number of estimators, the number of trees in a random forest or boosting model. You can again search for more things, but this is what it means. Max depth, maximum depth of trees in decision tree or boosting model. So as you see here in the example that I took here, so you can see the number of branches in this tree. So if I go further into it, so eat lot of pizza, yes, so even I can add more conditions into it. So this is what leveling is all about. So maximum depth, it is being called depth here. So maximum depth of trees in decision tree, this is what max depth hyperparameter will do. You can define the max depth. Now choosing the right combination of hyperparameter
can make the difference between an average model and a highly accurate one. So why you need these hyperparameters? To make highly accurate one. Now you will ask me how to specify this. Don't worry, we will automate this process, so you don't have to set things manually. It will be automatically done with few lines of code, 2 or 3 lines. Don't worry about it. You just understand this is what hyperparameter settings that you specify before training the model, and these are 3 examples that can be used. Hyperparameters. Now let's see. I was telling you that I will automate the process, so this is how you automate the process of hyperparameter tuning. So grid search CV is one of this tool. Grid search CV is one of this tool, helps you to automate hyperparameter tuning. It searches through different combination of hyperparameters and finds the set that gives the best model performance based on the scoring matrix. So what it will do in background is create multiple combinations and run them one by one and see which combination performs better, and it will return that the best hyperparameter combination. It will return the best hyperparameter combination that you can use in your program, so that your model can perform highly with high accuracy. So this is what grid search CV will help you with. How it works: define a range of hyperparameters. You specify the hyperparameters you want to tune and the possible values for each. So first you will specify the hyperparameter manually. Try all combinations. Grid search CV tries every possible combination of this hyperparameter. I already told you it will create multiple combination and run them one by one, and it will try all possible combinations related to these hyperparameters. They are nothing more than just settings that you specify before, just that I told earlier. Before training the model, you specify these settings. Train and evaluate the model. For each combination, the model is trained and evaluated using cross-validation. This means it split the training data into multiple parts and train the model multiple times to ensure the results are robust. So what this is saying is, it will distribute the training data into multiple small data sets, big data set, small data set, and use for each combination, because for hyperparameters there will be many combinations available. Then for each combination the model is trained and evaluated using cross validation. It will split the training data into multiple parts and trains the model multiple times to ensure the results are robust. Okay, so last one, select the best combination. What it will do is, after trying all combinations, grid search CV tells you which set of hyperparameter so it will automatically tell you which hyperparameters are best for you based on the chosen matrix. So if you go for accuracy, if you go for MSC, I will tell you about all these things, but if you go for these metrics, then which combination is best, hyperparameters combination is best that you can use for your model. Why use grid search CV? Why? Save times. Instead of manually trying every combination, automates the process. Uses cross validation to ensure the selected hyperparameter generalize well to new data, preventing overfitting. I told you in previous session what overfitting is. Finds the optimal set by testing multiple combinations. It helps find the best set of hyperparameter that maximize model performance. Check out these 3 words: maximize model performance. So this is why you use grid search CV. Next question, when to use grid search CV? When you are unsure which hyperparameters to choose, so you don't know what will work, use this. When you want to improve your model accuracy by fine-tuning its performance, so model performance, go for grid search CV. This is when to use grid search CV. Code block is easy. I told you, they just call this and pass the parameters required. So I will show you one by one if you want. Let's see. Model here, gradient boosting regressor model. Param grid that we specified manually here for the hyperparameters. 5 distribution of data or 5 combination of data from the data set. So if you want to know these more things, then I can tell you if you want, but I will be telling you about these errors briefly after this. So not an issue, I will tell you about this also. So this is the output. Let's see. Now I've already shown you this is the output. Now let's see the next thing. Model training and predictions. Training. The model is trained with the best hyperparameters found using grid search CV. So this is how you specify grid underscore search dot best underscore estimator underscore. This is how you specify the hyperparameters you found earlier. This is how you specify in the code. So let's check the code. See what this grid search is. When you run grid search CV, then it will store everything here. Then from this you can write best estimator or use best underscore estimator, and in this way you can specify the best hyperparameters to use with your model. This is the way. So let's see the performance evaluation. Very important. You did everything that you can. You did everything, but how you know if you are what you are doing is correct? How will you know this? So this is how you check if the model is performing correctly or not. This is how. Once you have built and trained your machine learning model, it is important to evaluate its performance. For regression models where you are predicting a continuous value like house prices, this is what regression models are. Where you are predicting a continuous value like house prices, there are a few key metrics that helps you understand how well your model is doing. 3 of the most commonly used metrics are. Now let's see the 3 most common used metrics. First one, mean squared error. Now let's first see the output, how it looks like. Mean squared error. This is the MSE tells you how far off your model's prediction are from the actual value. So for example, I already included the example here, so let me just continue with this. So how far off your model's prediction are from the actual values on average, it's called squared error. It is called squared error because it squares the difference between predicted and actual values. Let's see a real life example. Let's say you are using gradient boosting regressor to predict house pricing and you want to tune 3 hyperparameters. So you have 3 hyperparameters like this. Number of boosting stages. Let me show you first the code so that you will understand what we are dealing with. So in the code you will see these things: param underscore grid, an estimator, learning rate, max depth, and you can see I have given multiple inputs here in the form of list, so it will try multiple things. This is how it will look like the code, and this is how you call grid search CV. I will show you grid search CV. Let's see the code. So this is gradient boosting regressor. Okay, so here we have grid search CV, and let's see where we are getting this. We are getting this from sklearn.model underscore selection. This is grid search CV. So it they already created everything. We just have to use the things. because Python is getting very mature. They have included everything. You just have to call the functions. So this is how the code looks like. This is how you call grid search CV. So let's see a real life example. Let's say you are using gradient boosting regressor to predict house prices, and you want to tune 3 hyperparameters and estimator. So what this means is number of boosting stages, like the number of trees. So the stages you want, how many times. Learning rate, how fast the model learns. Max underscore depth, maximum depth of each tree. You will I already told you, if you give these things manually, it will take time and your model will not be very efficient. So you can automate these things using these techniques. So see, you are not sure which values will give the best results, so you try a range of values for each hyperparameter, like this. An estimator, so these are number of boosting stages, learning rate, again multiple values, max underscore depth, multiple values. So instead of trying each combination manually, grid search CV will automate this for you. So this is what grid search CV is. It will automate the task of checking the hyperparameters. So you can do some other task and let grid search CV check the things for you. Hyperparameters settings. Now step by step breakdown. Initialize the model. We are using gradient boosting regressor. This is what we are using to initialize the model. Define the grid. We create I will show you here. This is gradient boosting regressor, and we are using the this and storing this in model object, and then using it further. So this is what we are using here. Define the grid. We create a param underscore grid with all the possible values, an estimator, learning rate, and max depth. And this is the param grid. This is how it looks like. It is just a dictionary, and then under dictionary we have these keys and the list values here. So define the grid. Grid search CV setup. We set up the grid search CV to perform 5-fold cross validation. This means it will split the data into 5 parts. So we are telling it to split the data into 5 parts. Check this out. We are manually telling it. So 5-fold cross validation. Split the data into 5 parts and then train the model 5 times for each combination of hyperparameter to ensure accuracy. So it is up to you how much time you want to give your model. So you can run the model. So I will give you example. I have watched some seminar for ChatGPT, and the models they train, they take at least 3 months to train the model. At least 3 months. I've seen that in a seminar, their seminar, they take at least 3 months. So it is up to you how much perfect model you want to create. So it is up to you the time you take. So fit the model. Grid search CV tries all combination of hyperparameter and trains the model on the training data. So it will automate the manual task. Best hyperparameter. After evaluating all combination, grid search CV provides the best set of hyperparameters. So see, check this out. I am printing these here. Best parameter. See, best parameter for grid search CV. So we have given these things, multiple things, and what it is saying is use from 300 from an estimator. Max depth should be 5 in our case, this, and this learning rate should be this one. So it automatically told us. So you can increase these things here. Doing this, you can find even better hyperparameter combinations. I will continue this project in next video. See you in next video. Have a nice day.